Welcome to Bad Advice, the show where we explore the worst advice startup founders have ever received or investors given. I'm Judis Kalnic from Bad Ideas Fund. This podcast is brought to you thanks to the Latvian Investment and Development Agency, as well as the Investment and Tourism Agency of Riga. Today's guest is Roberts Bernāns, but more on him after the very short intro. So welcome back. Roberts is a founder and product leader who has spent the last decade building at the intersection of fintech, data, and AI. He co-founded Nordigen and scaled it across Europe before Nordigen was acquired by GoCardless. Woohoo! And consequently, Roberts joined GC as the VP of product. Now he leads BADbrain at Bad Ideas Fund, surprise, surprise, developing AI and automation infrastructure for early stage startups. Is that correct? Does that sound about right?
Very flattering. Thank you very much.
We will also flatter you along the way. But first, I really want to ask something to you.
Oh my God.
Why didn't you tell me that you're a drug dealer?
Well, there is a long story to this, but long story short, when you make a startup, like you need to find these small things to be proud of. So me and my co-founder Roland from Nordigen, we went to New York to pitch in a fintech conference, and like we got this it wasn't really a award, like we just got this glass thingy, and we're like, all right, we're the rock stars of the world. So we went to
What does it even say?
I don't know.
Finovate Fall 2018 thing represents.
We just went to the ball in New York and made a selfie, and that made our day then. And now you see it like something you found somewhere apparently.
That's I reached out to your partner in crime and asked, do you have any material?
Unfortunately, there's plenty of those.
Looking back all the way, like how long ago did you start Nordigen with Roland?
11 years ago.
11 years ago. What originally pushed you into the startup world instead of just going the traditional corporate world?
I think I had this kind of urge or inclination always to try something on my own, and happened to be the case that I met Roland, the co-founder from Nordigen, at a hackathon. And I think that's where my journey started, that I found that the kind of technology and entrepreneurship are two of the things I really enjoy, and we just went from there.
What pushed you to join a hackathon in the first place?
I had an idea on building a marketplace for airline tickets, where if you can choose your travel plans, you can sell a ticket to someone else. And I don't know, it's looking back, COVID would have definitely killed an idea, but I think at those times when we checked, 5% of people don't show to their flights. Okay. And we thought, it's a good market. Let give opportunity for people to sell their tickets to someone else. And I just went there, bombed on the, in front of 100 people who knew much more than I did about software engineering and tech and everything. But, I met Roland's there. So, I mean, that's that. So, and we worked for a year for this on this idea, and which should have taken an hour to kill it.
So why did it flop in the end?
We needed a airline as a partner to start off with, and we got our project in front of board members of Air Baltic, and they said no. So that was the end of it, and it took us a year to get there, and it was by no means the really necessary thing to do.
You're just delusional. You're
yeah, absolutely. We had our business cards and presentations and all sorts of nonsense you don't need.
And after that, did you land straight on Nordigen, or was there anything else in between?
One takeaway for us, at least, was if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna build something, let's build something in a space we understand better, because none of us had any relation or know-how from airline industry. So we kind of landed naturally on a fintech sector, because I worked in a fintech myself, and Roland's worked with fintechs more he had a small media agency. So we thought, okay, let's land something there. And it took us, I think, half a year to land on the idea of Nordigen. So we kind of went through a lot of different ideas, many stupid ideas, but I think that's probably part of the process.
As we say thank you to Roland, don't want him to interrupt this discussion anymore, but maybe you can quickly sum up what was the main idea behind Nordigen, how did that come to fruition and the whole journey in 5 sentences.
Yeah, we kind of brute forced it, and we got lucky in many ways. So we had a process of meeting once a week. Both of us were prepared with different ideas, and Ron was much better at coming up with ideas than I did. And so we met for a beer, like went through the list of ideas, chose one or couple, and then spent a week to validate them. That was our process. And I don't know, it was like 50, 100 ideas we went through. So we looked at different angles, what we can do in the fintech space, and
What would the validation process look like?
so my philosophy about building products is like get a product as early as possible in front of your users, because only user can tell you if it's good or bad, right? So using the analogy, like what we did, the validation process was find someone from the field that can tell you whether it's a bad idea or not. That was really it. Like very quick. Don't build anything. Maybe kind build couple slides just to illustrate the point. Get it in front of a couple people. Validate, kill or proceed. Very simple. But yeah. And the other thing was like have very short cycles for validation. I find that this is something young entrepreneurs like over engineers like, let's create a kind of Google form with 100 questions and they're going to build it out for weeks. Then how can I find 100 people to respond to get statistically significant response? Like none of it, like sometimes matters, but like sometimes it's enough with one person to
Just
tell
a
you.
vibe check
Yeah,
and
yeah. And we were relentless. We joked that we were like cockroaches. Like it's like it doesn't cost you anything to invite someone on LinkedIn and say, "Hey, I'm building a startup." Like just having this one question I want to ask. Can I grab you for a coffee chat? And like most people will say, "No, fine, okay, didn't cost you anything." Like, but some will reply, and you just roll with that.
so you said you went through 50 to 100 ideas, and you were at 100th idea. It was Nordigen, and then what was that? Was it like feedback from a potential client that was like, "Oh yeah, this is good"?
Yeah, it was couple conversations went through, and like and even the validation phase, like you start off with like problem statements, then you're gonna go through like how you could solve it, and just like found it like kind of sticks, and we're like, what the heck, let's build it, let's build. Only then we built like an MVP.
Was it like a straightforward road up, or was it like ups and downs? And
Oh, I mean,
did you
like,
find times where you're so annoyed that you're like, "Fuck everyone"?
I would say very few people realize how tough it is to be an entrepreneur and founder. That's why you hear about like pivots and such, is because I think entrepreneur is someone who is best at being able to adapt to different circumstances. And we probably had two very major crises, like you know
Share, please do.
I mean, one was it was year in, and I'm ashamed to say that it took like a year to get there.
Okay.
In a year's time, we found that in Europe there was someone else doing the thing we do, but with much better technology. And we're like almost flipped the table. We're like, we're so dumb. We're building this archaic like way of doing this process, like.
Were you aware of the competitors at the time?
No, it took us 12 months.
Great research.
Yeah. Exactly. And they were Swedes, so I mean, so we didn't have to look too far. And a funny thing, we were in Finland when we learned that, so it was even closer. Like, not that like matters in digital world, but like ironically. But and I think like looking back, obviously, it kind of didn't matter that much. Like just like market was huge, like learn and adapt. But like that was like a very depressing evening, I remember.
In connection to this, in a recent interview, you said that very hard work and luck are the two drivers of startup success. So first, yeah, the hard work, but maybe you can illustrate a lucky story along the way that helped you.
Lucky, I think the acquisition story is where we got lucky, because we didn't intend to sell the company. We were kind of fairly good place as a company. We thought maybe it's time to get some call to our furnace. Like went out, do some conversations with like VCs around Europe, and one VC said like really like what you guys building. We have this portfolio company called GoCardless, which acquired us in the end. Said because you work in kind of similar space, I want them to have a chat with you and kind of vet you. They understand the space better than we do. So it's like expert call, and we just got lucky. We got lucky that just like this weird interaction led to acquisitions.
Like throughout this whole journey, like at any point, I suppose you had like some investors or angels you had kept close along the way. At any point, did you get any bad advice provided or pushed onto you that you're like, I don't know if I need to follow this, but you still didn't? And
what I found, and my big realization was that many people who gave us advice had good intentions. It's just like their experience was either, I wouldn't say incomplete, or specific, that wasn't really useful in our case. And I think it took a very, very long time to figure out like what advice we should listen to, but we shouldn't. And that applies to investors, that applies to people you hire, that applies to people you seek advice from as advisors. And even like look at early stages, like if you're very early in building your company, you'd probably go to hackathons, accelerator programs. You'll have tons of people giving you advice, but always remember like who these people are and what are their potential strengths. And that would be my advice. Start off with instead of asking the advisor like tell me more about you, but like tell me what you are great at. Early on, like most people said like our idea was bad, and who in their right mind would make such a business. And like we went to in our earlier speeches in front of investors was like we not always, but like we often like we were on the bottom of rankings.
oh shoot!
But like
How did you keep your motivation up?
it's because like I mean, well, we probably weren't great at explaining what we're building in the first place. But it comes to the cockroach analogy. We were like very determined. Maybe to some extent even too much, because sometimes when you need to stop. But we are like, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and like whatever needs to take place. And we were like we worked from co-working place. We were the first in, last out. Like we put in. Again, just putting long hours doesn't change anything, but we were very focused and very determined.
Do you consider yourself an investor? Are you an angel?
Yeah, I'm definitely an angel. Different topic is like whether I'm good one or not, but yeah, I could definitely call myself an investor now.
Does the advisory part, do you also do that sometimes?
Yeah, for me to help someone is whether you're passionate and motivated and spend the effort yourself. That's it. If you roll the sleeves yourself and really passionate about it, like I'll help you out. If it's just like, hey, I'm just like gonna ask people around, nah, it's not my gig.
Have you had any cases where you have given advice and then realized that I shouldn't have done that?
I'm very strict in these advisory relationships. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You'll need to figure it out. You can use me as ChatGPT to interact, but like you make the call, because ultimately you need to be accountable for the choices you make.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I'm happy to share some, make introductions, share my insights. But like I'll probably kind of ask you leading questions, so you'll figure out like what you need to kind of ask, learn on your own to figure out the path forward.
As we're sort of colleagues right now, I need to ask you.
Not sort of.
At what point did AI stuff come into your life? Like what does BADbrain do?
Okay, AI is not a new thing, right? So, and even LLMs is not a new thing, but adoption of LLMs over the last 2 or 3 years has skyrocketed. So I think I like to keep an eye on new technologies, right? So I wouldn't say I was like big on like blockchain, but like I kind of followed what's going on. I wasn't ready to build something from scratch. Maybe it's like a PTSD from Nordigen times, but I was thinking like whether there's, and again in very simple terms, whether there is an applications of AI in a traditional businesses, like where they haven't done it great yet, struggle, and VC is one of those, right? BADbrain is ultimately our AI interface to fund. So the first iteration is, replacing what venture partners do in VCs is how we can build an interface that makes our portfolio companies more successful. And startup founders have their usual problems, is like how to raise my next fund, like how to hire this or that person, like which law firm I should choose. And the beauty about Bad Ideas particularly is because we have more than 250 members who are operators and founders themselves, and all I need to do is just like connect them to, and AI is an excellent tool to do it. So I like to think about it like in a tool set of how to do things better. So it's not just like a nice flashy brandy thing, but like it's fundamentally changing how VC should behave. And I do hope that Bad Idea is going to be forefront of that.
What have you noticed so far, looking at different founders at different stages in their founder lifespan? What are the biggest mistakes they do with AI?
I think people start from the end. If you want to use, even like, don't think about LLMs, even if you want to build automations or build anything, it's like whether you have data, whether you have kind of right data infrastructure, because you need kind of these fundamentals to build anything on top. And what I find is like people start from the end, they're gonna start with these flashy things and then don't realize nothing is working. So you don't expect like autonomous agents doing magic if you don't have any data or data structured in correct way to run those agents. The agent is not working bad. It's the what you're expecting from the agent is I wouldn't say delusional, but like unfounded probably.
To finish up, let's do a quick lightning round. I'll say a few statements, and you just have to reflect from your own personal experiences. First, hire slow, fire fast.
No, do both fast. Like it's like hiring probably will be a big part of a founder early on. Like that's where like big part of your focus would be, because again, will sound super like a truism, but like your company is going to be only as good as people in the company, right? Easier said than done, because how do you attract great talent with having no name to yourself or company or track record? Like that's a whole different story. But like still, I think you need to be fast at all points. I think people very often over-engineer hiring process. You don't need 10 interviews to figure out like what you need.
You don't?
No, no. Like it's again like what you are hiring for. We were hiring for not your resume. We were hiring for like eagerness to learn, to adapt, to commit, and those things. Like it's almost like builds more through your gut feeling. And we had misses. That's why you fire fast. But yeah, I don't think you need to hire slow. I think you can do both fast.
Okay, interesting. In regards to this, next statement, AI won't replace people.
I don't think it's going to replace people per se, but it's going to definitely take a lot away from how people interact. Even, I will probably not go to shop to talk with shopkeeper. My agent will talk with shop's agent, right? But I don't think it kind of replaces like humans. It just like replaces some human interactions.
Founders should automate everything as early as possible.
No, every tool should have a purpose. I think it's good to be mindful, like where you should focus, what should be your key priorities, removing noise and clutter. But like automation should be kind of means to ends, not like what you're focusing on in the first place.
And last but not least, work smarter, not harder.
Oh, 100%. Like I like to call myself lazy. And it's not because like, in traditional sense of laziness, like I don't do stuff or I don't want to do stuff. It's more like I like to split my time into thinking time and into doing time. And I think the problem with, laptops and mobile phones is it kind of pushes you into working time. I like to kind of, play with my 6-month-old or jog. That's the best thinking time, because we often are too focused in solving a problem that we forget to look at the wider scenery. Like sometimes like it's good to let your brain just wander.
Yeah.
Like that's where a lot of creativity comes from. So definitely work smarter, not harder.
No kidding. The best thinking time for me is when I'm at the countryside doing the lawn, like pushing the lawnmower, and that just makes me think for 2 hours,
Yep.
and it gets scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, if you haven't done it before.
Any final words you want to say to our viewers?
The whole tech space is still a place to be. It's still
So it's not too late to jump in.
no, it's never too late. Like wasn't too late 10 years ago, 5, 1, and it's never going to be. It's like investing, right? The best time to invest is now.
Yeah.
In S&P.
Yesterday, but yeah.
Yeah, but I would say there's still great opportunities on all sides, like being a founder, being an advisor, being an investor. I think there are now many great opportunities how to kind of start off. There's a lot you can do. We talked very briefly about vibe coding, like just like try. Like, I mean, automate away how you buy your plane tickets or whatever. I mean, just try. That's the only thing I can say. It doesn't cost you anything, literally. And then,
You can automate ordering groceries.
everything, whatever. Like, I mean, stuff you hate. I don't know, replying to your friends over WhatsApp. Just kidding. I'm really bad at WhatsApp replies. It takes me like 3
Poor
days.
Roland.
Yeah. He suffered a lot. Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a great. It's the best place to be. It's where the magic happens. It's where the where you see new things to pop up. Like it's not where where your brain drains away from monotony and.
I can't. I'm going to take away my main takeaway from this discussion. Automate chatting with your friends.
Yeah, don't take that advice. Like, remember what I said about advice. Always like take everything in the context, right?
All right, everyone. Today we had Robert Bernāns. Hope you had a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's get back to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
See you, everyone.